So last time I showed you how to make this Zen home. Now we're going to learn how to animate it. Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Nieves. Today I'm going to be using Adobe After Effects and Photoshop to create this living, breathing character. These are pretty great for podcast covers, social media of course, and all those really cool ASMR videos we be seeing on YouTube. To start, we gonna need a graphic. I'll be using this photo manipulation, but you can follow the same steps to get this result using your own art or photos. Setting up the animation in Photoshop will help us separate the character from the background before we jump into After Effects. I'll need to make sure she's on a separate layer and that I have a version of the background without her in it. To do this, you'll need to isolate the character with a layer mask or even remake the rest of the background so that we can animate her separately. In this file, I have everything that'll be moving on its own layer. Notice how even when I unhide some, the background is completely intact, making it easier to animate each subject. Let's save this as a Photoshop PSD. Then, in After Effects, go to File, Import File, making the import kind a composition that retains the layer sizes, and then selecting the layer options with the editable layer styles. This file automatically becomes its own new composition, and all the layers from the Photoshop file should appear in the panel. Now, if you do have more things you're animating, you will have more than just the subject and the background layers. To begin, let's lock the background layer and adjust the work area to around 8 seconds. That'll be the complete length of this animation when we're finished. To animate her, I'll use the puppet tools. Unlike 3D animation, where you can program characters to move kind of like digital animatronics, the puppet tool moves the graphic like a piece of paper, distorting it if the points are pushed too far in the opposite direction. Like without any structure, if I move the arms, everything else kind of flaps around. I'll select the puppet position pin tool to add pins to her legs, chest, shoulder, head, and crown. The ones down the middle hold the structure up while hinting at her breathing through the chest and pinned shoulders. So if we don't have these middle points, everything kind of collapses. Let's start with the chest movement. Select the chest pin. Each puppet pin comes with mesh options that control their position. Set a keyframe at the beginning, getting familiar with the current numerical positions for each pin. To get the timing right, I'll put keyframes on the position option to mark the movements of her body as she inhales and exhales. You can practice taking a few deep breaths to see how many seconds go by. For me, about 2 seconds seems like a healthy deep breath. Anything shorter just looks like she's hyperventilating or beatboxing or something. Not so relaxing. To start with the inhale, leave the first keyframe alone and adjust the Y or vertical position of puppet pin 1 so that it goes up slightly by the time it hits 2 seconds. This is the chest inhaling. Then after another 2 seconds, add another keyframe, lower the vertical position, and now she's exhaling. Then copy the positions for each pin as long as you need the graphic to run. In 8 seconds, she can breathe in for 2 seconds and exhale for 2 seconds. 2 good times. Once you move the chest, make sure the head and crown match the movement, adjusting the vertical positions of both puppet pins to match the expansion for the inhale. This bottom pin becomes an anchor of the whole thing and doesn't need to be moved at all, so don't worry. Now the shoulders. This time when you raise them, exaggerate it. Increase the vertical position a little more to really help her take that big, deep breath. To make it more real, you can adjust the horizontal position too. Remember, the middle points go up, but the shoulders move up and out, left and right. And once we have the inhale numbers, we're pretty much done. Because from here on down, we can reuse that first keyframe position for the descend or exhales. To exaggerate this even further, consider dropping the shoulders in that first keyframe, so it takes more effort to bring them up on the inhale. Just make sure you copy this position for all your exhales later. This is the final animation. Try this effect on people, animals, or any special characters, and let me know how it went.